Hello there. How are you? What an intense day today. Where shall we begin? So, the last several months, I'm not sure if this is fully a masculine experience or one that the feminine would embody as well, but I'm going to share it with no polarity required, but it's my truth. So I've been having so many experiences that challenge me in the most visceral way. Poking at all the stuff that's underneath that makes me protect or makes me hide or makes me feel in flight or fight. What's stored in my nervous system, what's the difference between my programming of being quiet and pleasing people and a new building awareness of having to be an absolute truth, unapologetically truthful, and to stand in the energy of whatever shows up inside my nervous system, inside my world, etc. Conflict with people, conflict with self. A good example. So today, someone made a post talking about how surrender was bad, especially for a woman, and it was this really bad thing that surrendered all her boundaries and caused codependence and a whole bunch of other things. And it literally was a share that kind of just destroyed the word surrender. And then it went on to say, well, surrender to self was something completely different and it was good. But after slandering the word so deeply and speaking from what I very clearly see as their wound, I had to stand up. I had to respond, not to be negative, not to tell them they're wrong or whatever, just suggesting that there was a different version of surrender that he hadn't experienced, and suggesting that that person hadn't actually really experienced surrender, and especially surrender with a woman, if those were the beliefs that were underneath. Because that person was very visceral and very direct and very clear and very intellectual in the thinking out of what was going on, but had lost the essence of the word in my experience, and this person is followed by a lot of people. So I had to stand up and not to disrespect, because it was never about disrespect. It was about calling in another perspective. And that person said that I was derailing and I was codependent and all this other kind of stuff, and all these things that came up. And it was shared in such a loving way from my perspective, but there was an attack back that showed clearly that there was something else going on underneath. But I had to sit after sharing a beautiful, loving, vulnerable truth in the least attacking, most gentle way that I could, that there might be another perspective, and then to receive back that I was wrong and I was trying to steal his power and all this kind of stuff. It kind of gutted me for a few minutes. And he went on to continue to attack and suggest a whole bunch of things until I had to walk away. But this is the visceralness of the experience that I'm having. I had to say a truth because he was choosing to state his truth and his wound in public in a very messy way, but at the same time claiming to be an expert on something that was disempowering people, especially women. And I couldn't stand for that to not be challenged. And that doesn't mean, oh, fuck off, there's something wrong with you, shut the fuck up, or whatever. That's what I felt that came back to me. No, it was love. It was like, I cannot let that perspective to go unchallenged, because there was darkness in it. There was shadow in it. I'm sure there's a wound that goes along with it. I have no idea what it is, but the words that were spoken about it, I can't even remember some of them. It felt so wrong and so wounded to me. So this is something that's going on in my life every day. I had an interaction that I spoke a little bit about with a woman that wanted to learn more about the awakening through sexuality and was very excited and in a way turned on about it. But once we started to create a container to be able to allow that exploration to continue, to go into depth, to have that thing go further, required her to come in with no surrender, a ton of boundaries, and non-acceptance of any of my boundaries. So each time I go into an experience like this where the wounds of another directly challenge me, they create fight or flight in me, they make me question every facet of my being. Each and every time, the only path through is truth and integrity. And yes, they may try and challenge me, they may try and trigger me, they may be testing me to see if I'm worthy, etc., etc. But each time I get to sit in absolute trigger of my nervous system, because I feel I'm being attacked, questioning every facet of myself. So, am I pleasing? Am I hurting someone else? Am I being too direct? Am I being whatever? And over and over and over again, the very clear message is there is power in truth. How to describe it? And it was so clearly stated. I've been watching the series Grey's Anatomy. I've never watched it in my life in its integrity. But there's a doctor in there. Everybody calls him like he's an asshole. That Dr. Alex, he's one of the interns. And it got to the point one day where he was being called out by Dr. Burke, the heart surgeon, and he said, "You cannot tell the patient the truth. You cannot. You will no longer be the intern for this patient if you don't stop." And he stood up and he said, "I'm the only fucking person in this hospital that gives people truth." And it was with regard that this happened to a woman that was kind of lying to herself about having cancer and about to die. And she kept giving these promises to her daughter that said, "Oh, we'll have a really good birthday next year." And when she knew in her heart and from the doctors that she was going to be dying in the next several months. But she wanted to protect her daughter. And he pointed out, he said, more than likely your daughter's going to hate you for the rest of your life because you kept this from her. Which was the truth. That daughter needs time to prepare, to grieve, to all these kind of things, that needs that insight inside. And I'm seeing that so often in everything that we're doing in this world, sugarcoating things, telling people that it's all going to be okay, and just to kind of stiff upper lip and bypass it and do all this kind of bullshit. And it's not. I agree with people having autonomy and being able to choose themselves, but if they want to involve me in it, they are asking for my truth, my honesty, my directness. And that's the gift that I give to everyone. And yeah, it scares the hell out of people. I see it in my videos and stuff where people don't want to hear these truths and they want it sugar-coated so that they don't have to do their work. But I will never hide something. I will never speak around something. And I'm learning more and more and more that that's very important. It's my gift to the world, is being vulnerable and truthful and direct. And it's going to scare people away. But a lot of the people it scares away draws them in later, because there was an integrity, there was a truth, there was an honesty in everything that I share. I don't hide it. I'm going to show you the path through. It may be gritty, it may be messy, it may be scary as hell. You're going to have to face your nervous system and your inner child and walk through fear and whatever. But by me standing in it, to sit in fear and anxiousness and that kind of stuff, and then talk about it, and then walk through it with communication and directness, leads an example that you're not going to get almost anywhere else. Most of our leaders, most of our gurus, most of the people that we're surrounding ourselves with want to hide. They want to run and hide. They want to go close off, go deal with it on their own, and then not making anything public about it. Which is great for a while, but eventually you're going to have to learn to interact in a direct fashion. And to me, it's just beating around the bush. So to hold somebody in integrity, to say, hold on, I disagree with your opinion. Here's the opinion that I have. Can we agree that maybe there's some truth in the middle? And then it's not about fighting. It's not about people attacking each other. It's not about people being in turmoil to each other. You all of a sudden become this active interaction with another soul, grounding them in the moment, being truthful, opening to depth of discussion, of awareness that only comes from sitting in that discomfort, that fear, that nervous system activation, and saying, I'm doing the best that I can. And I'm sharing my truth, even though another person wants to smash me because they're scared to go look at the holes in their own truth or what they're talking to other people. Instead, to have an honest discussion, say, hey, that triggered the hell out of me. Hey, there's something going on underneath. Can we talk about it? Instead of, hey, there's something wrong with you and you're stealing my stuff and all this kind of stuff. That's the old game. The new game is, fuck, this doesn't align. Can we talk about it? Not, oh, you're something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with me, or whatever. No, it's like, holy shit. Something feels off. And they probably feel it's off too. And it's hidden in their shadow. And they don't even know where that is in their shadow. And sometimes they need to contract with someone to shine back and to see that shadow. Oh, there's a hole in it. Oh, whenever I talk about that, there's a pain in my wound, in my marriage, of my mother, of my father, of whatever the thing is, and it's hidden. And it's fucking twisting everything we say, and our beliefs and our perspectives have to align with it until somebody calls it out into the raw open and says, what's this about? And then this honesty, this truth, this love grows. And that person that I had that share with around surrender, I loved so much, but he wanted to smash me and kill me and discredit me and tell me I was wrong. But I stayed in it. I had to walk away. I stayed in it and I said, I fully believe that this is my truth. I don't see why you're all of a sudden being angry and wanting to smash me. It means I have to step away. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye. Boom. It feels tight in my heart. He wants to fucking attack me and discredit me and hurt me and wound me and give me his shit. No fucking way. I have to set a now boundary inside and say, hey, I don't need to please people. I gave him the most massive gift he's probably ever going to receive, and he wants to hurt me for it. I did nothing other than I stirred the pot inside, and obviously there's some energies going. And you want to know a real secret? When people start calling you names when they're really angry and triggered, they're speaking, every single word that they're saying is about themselves. And it's so freeing to look at it and say, okay, you're doing this and you're doing that. No, it's them. Their self-doubt means that they have to blame outside themselves because that's the only way they can move forward. But to sit with it and to sit viscerally with it and sit with the risk I'm going to upset someone or make them feel uncomfortable or whatever, all for reasons of both of our highest goods. And to have somebody that is a position of power and of leadership to fucking stand there and distort and twist things because they haven't dealt with their wound and they're trying to claim that they're teaching people. If you can't get through this stuff, you can't heal this stuff within yourself, we have no right to teach other people. We're just, if you ever heard the term that those that can't teach? This is a way of people bypassing dealing with their shit to go and stand in front of a bunch of people, feel good in their validation of having them like and share and whatever and all hail their power. But in a lot of ways, they're actually keeping people in their wound because they're the core of their wound. I've met so many Tantra teachers and sacred sexuality teachers and stuff like that that are so deeply in their wound, they've chosen to teach it because they can control it. They're not diving viscerally into the shit that they have to deal with. No, they're building a container so that they control it, so that they can protect themselves. We need containers where people can out and out say, I disagree with you, and this doesn't feel good. And to trash surrender is the worst thing that you could ever do. And then turn around and make surrender to the self is the most important. How can you trash the word for others and God and then make it the best possible thing for you alone and only alone? That's like closing the box and trying to open to possibility. The door is closed. So I stand in my power, not at someone's expense, but I choose to challenge what I see to be not truth in the most accountable way I can. I could have said, I hate that, that's awful, and it's all disgusting. Or I could say, hold on, this is my experience of women surrendering. And there's a beautiful post just before this where I shared the comments back as a group post on my page to stand and hold a woman in her choice to surrender, and not for me forcing it or pushing or anything, but just opening a container of self-love and of gentleness, and then watching her lead with the gift of surrender is the most sacred gift a man and a woman can share. And it has nothing to do with the way the man showed up or all these kind of bullshit pieces underneath. It has everything to do with the woman's relationship to herself. And the surrender starts with self first, but that surrender has to extend to a person, to friends, to community, to other things. And that's the woman's deepest power, is to step into things without control, without having to lead or come from their masculine, just fully and deeply trusting possibility. And that's the most sacred gift. And I cannot watch someone trash it to a whole bunch of people, and then a bunch of people are like, oh, this is so beautiful and so awesome, but they literally programmed that person with their wound because they haven't healed themselves first. And my integrity and my power and the love that I am as a man cannot make that unanswered or left to be as okay and I accept when I don't. Not that I'm resisting it, not that I'm smashing it, not that I'm saying it's wrong, just saying, here's my perspective. Make your own choice. That is the gift of awareness. That is the gift of me. That is the man that people can be around and be integral with. And more and more and more. It's a huge, full body, visceral experience to be that for a person. And that's the greatest gift I can ever give to another person. I can get called out. I can be told I'm weird. I'm going to be told I'm wrong or I'm crazy or whatever. I don't give a flying fuck anymore. Because what I give is the most pure gift. Even if it's messy and it has a little bit of my wound in it, I'm open to questioning. I'm open to whatever. But to be that truth and say it with love and vulnerability and caring, I can take any response if a person matches, but if a person wants to trash and crash, I don't have to play that game. The only opening to truth is more truth. Not defense, not hiding, not smashing, not calling names, not calling anything. And I felt it for so long. But that's what everybody's programmed into right now. But I don't accept it. I walk away when that starts to happen. I don't play this deep and this vulnerable by opening my heart afterwards for somebody to smash and crash and hurt. Because I'll guarantee if I've shared that thing with a person within months or a year, shining a light on that wound, shining it in that crack is eventually going to open something and is going to get them awareness. Why did he respond in that way? Why did he stand in so much integrity? Because I'm in my truth and nothing else. Not an agenda, not to change, not to shift, not to force, not to whatever. Just, fuck, here's my reflection. Here's what I saw. If you can't accept it, it's okay. But don't beat me up about it. Go sit with it. That's yours. To sit in that space and to not accept it is powerful. And I feel that's the rock that women are asking for in a man, somebody that they can speak to and share with, that will hold integrity and share from his heart, but will not deal with games, messing around, bullshit, hiding, codependence, all this kind of stuff. It'll be like, this is what I see. Are you willing to talk about that? Are you willing to be vulnerable about that? Or are you going to make it all my fault and you're going to blame me or whatever? That's a rock of a man. That's a man that has a foundation that can't be shaken, because I know I'm stating what is truth. You can play games and you can talk and you can wriggle around it and use all this bullshit to say that I'm somehow wrong. But you lost right then and there, because I'm never wrong. You're never wrong. But I'm hearing somebody saying that they can't, they're blocked from messages. I'm not sure what that is. I'll read it afterwards. But so just be aware. The person that can deal in integrity, call out, speak about, be direct about, is the person that you want in your life. And I will ground and I will go through and I'll sit in emotion and we'll cry and be scared together and whatever. But the minute control is tried, denigrating or trying to force me to be wrong or whatever, I'll speak about it and I'll step back until things change and things improve, because there's nothing gone in codependence or control or whatever. Everything's about surrender on both sides. Putting down your axes, putting down your wounds, putting down your trauma, putting down all this kind of stuff and saying, it's there. I'm scared. Can we talk? I'm willing to talk. Can you listen to me? Can you just hear me? Beautiful. Now I know what you want. And then we move forward. That's what I've had to come to inside. That's what I had to find. And it's uncomfortable. It's squishy. It has lots of emotions. It has lots of fight or flight and cortisol and all these other things that are trying to wound us and shut us down. But to stand there, stand in truth with another in that same place and hold each other and look into each other's eyes and say, holy fuck, this is scary. What's going on? Here's what I'm feeling. Poof. Magic happens. That's true surrender. That's truly seeing another person and taking self-responsibility and being accountable. This is happening. I don't blame you. I'm glad it's happening. Let's talk about it. Let's vent it. Let's release it. Communicate it out, and then we can move forward. And then those energies are no longer trapped. And that's the space I hold. So this is getting a little long, so I'm going to sign off. We'll refine it as more stuff shows up today. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.